There can be multiple reasons a user may have to reinstall their graphics drivers in order to get things working how they should again. The procedure that I'm going to go through is going to be pretty much the same, up to the point where you will have to download the specified driver for your graphics card. Now, back in the day, when I usually installed a fresh copy of Windows 10 on my laptop, I would allow everything to update, and then I would perform a reboot. Then I would go ahead and install my graphics card's drivers. However, when Microsoft decides to push an update to the system, these somehow tend to break the drivers and you start to experience slightly different performance. I now get lower FPS in games, resolutions are not changing, and some other graphical performance issues that I have experienced as soon as the update changes my driver version. Many persons have experienced issues with this, especially in a case where they use a specific version of a driver for their system. In some cases, older computers that do not come shipped with Windows 10 or Windows 11 may have issues with these Microsoft drivers that they push because the official driver might have not been updated since Windows 7 or Windows 8 or even probably Windows 8.1 for that specific system. So when a Windows 10 driver gets pushed to it, then you know that certain things will go off and you may run into issues. This is not the case for every person though. Some persons may not have issues. Like right now, I'm using an Nvidia. If I allow Microsoft to push their driver through an update, I will not have as much of a performance issue as I used to when I was using the AMD GPU. So not everyone will have issues, but as I said, you're using the older type of older model GPU, you may run into issues. Now, for these reasons, you may need to completely uninstall all graphics related stuff from your computer and reinstall the specified version that you know will work. Now, the first thing that you're going to actually have to do, get to the official website for your driver. So if you're using Nvidia, you go to this site, that's nvidia.com/download/find.aspx. And if you're using AMD, you go to this site, that's amd.com/en/support. Now you'd basically punch in your graphics card model and this would be for AMD. You come here and punch in your graphics card model for Nvidia. If you're not sure of the exact model of your graphics card, if you're on Windows, you'd go ahead and make a search for DX-Diag. And I've been using these things for ages, since Windows 7, so I'm pretty familiar with this stuff. Now, this section, this is basically telling you all about your system. What we really need is what's under the render tab here. This is what's going to tell you what is your GPU. And right here, I'm using this potato GPU. So that's basically all that you would need. So you go back to the website, and for me, I'm using Nvidia. So I go here and hit GeForce. This series is the 800 series because it's a 840M. You see 840M here, and you select the operating system that you're using. If you're using Windows 10, select Windows 10. If you're using Windows 11, you select Windows 11. This, I usually don't change this. I usually just keep this as standard and just go ahead and do a search, and I just select the top one, which is the latest one. And this one is from September 2021, but it's the latest one for this graphics card. Go ahead and download it. This one is 701 megabytes. I don't think any driver is going to be more than a gigabyte, but I'm not sure because I know that the later GPUs, their sizes may be larger. So whatever graphics card that you have, this is the official site that you need to get yours from Nvidia. I'll just go ahead and download this one here for the sake of this tutorial. And if you're on AMD, you go ahead and basically make a search here. So let's say you're looking for a graphics card, so you'll make sure that this is highlighted here. And let's say you have a 500 series, right? Let's see, is this for notebooks? Okay, so let's say you have an HD Radeon, and this one seems to be very popular. Actually, the one that I was using the last time I checked was, I think it was a 500 series. Right, this is a very old computer. 1 gigabyte of graphics memory it had, but that was kind of good back in the day when I was using it. It handled a lot of games very well. Actually, a lot of games that my Nvidia card still does not play very well right now. My Nvidia card has 2 gigabytes of graphics memory, so some things are just, I think some games are actually optimized for specific GPUs, and you can see that some of the times when the games are loading, you'll see like Nvidia or you'll see AMD. So yeah, some games are optimized different. I'm not sure, I think it was this one, so it was probably the last one on the list. It was very old, but I think it was this one. And then you just hit download. Let's see. Okay, so it just starts downloading like that. This is what though? Did my Nvidia GPU finish downloading? Let me go ahead and open this up here. Okay, so this is AMD. This is 41 megabytes. This downloaded extremely fast, but I don't see. Oh, I have to click download again. Okay, so the Nvidia one didn't download it the first time. Okay guys, so when you get to this page and you hit download, I believe you have to let it go to this other page where you hit download again. I haven't done this in a while, so I didn't remember that was a procedure. But this is where you come and actually get the file to start downloading. So it's coming down here. It's extremely larger than the other file. So as I said, the more updated the GPU is, the larger the driver size will be. So I guess you may have some files that may reach 2 gigabytes. I'm not sure. Let me go ahead and make a quick check. Let's see if we can find the famous 3090. I think it's a GeForce 30 series notebooks. Okay, 3080 Ti, Windows 11, search. So this is the game ready driver here. Make sure that you select the game ready driver, guys, for Nvidia. And it's not that big. Okay, so it's not that big. It's just it's the same size, practically just a few megabytes over. So if you're using one of the latest GPUs, I guess it's still the size of your driver may not be that large. I mean, let's see if there's a driver that's actually 1 gigabyte, because so far I think graphics drivers are the largest drivers, and this is not. It's the same size as the one. So graphics card drivers are the largest file sizes for drivers that I've ever seen. I've never seen any other driver for your computer the size like this. I mean, the most they go to is probably 100 to 200 megabytes. So when you get to 700 megabytes now, you know, that's something. But then again, this is not necessarily just the driver, because it has a lot of extra stuff that comes with it, like a control panel and this studio, Nvidia Studio thing. I guess that's what makes it so large. But we're waiting for it to finish downloading here. I think I've spoken enough. Probably if I actually clicked on it earlier, it would have reached further. Alright, so once that is completely finished downloaded, another thing that you're going to actually need to do is, and while this is going on here, let me just put it over here so that you can have a look at this beautiful background. And now that we've got device manager here, where you see display adapters, you click on this arrow to expand it, and then you right click on your driver here, on your graphics driver of course, and go to properties. I hope it doesn't come over on the other screen. Okay, good, it's on this screen. And then you go to details. Now you're going to go ahead and click on this device description here, and you're looking for hardware ID. So go ahead and click on that, and you'll see this here, and we're going to need this later. the next thing that you're going to actually want to do is get a piece of software called DDU. You can just punch that into Google and you'll see display driver uninstaller. This is the latest one as of this video, so go ahead and download the latest one, whether it's version 18, version 20, version 100, any of the latest version, get this. Scroll down to the base of the page and select any one of these. EU, any one of these. Just select one. I selected this one from the West Coast because I'm in the West Coast, I guess, so you can just select any one based on your region if you think. It's a very small file, so you don't need to worry about download times for this. If you don't have a extractor, you can get Winrar, because it's going to be a zip file. So if you don't have something to extract that, go ahead and download this. I've talked about this application in many of my videos, just in case you're not familiar with it, although it's very popular, so you might be familiar with it, but just in case you're not, this is Winrar. It does everything in terms of extracting stuff on Windows. So once you get that, you'll need to extract your downloaded file. Okay, when you extract it, you're actually going to get these. So this is what's going to be inside the folder when you extract it. This is what you really want, display driver uninstaller. Now, when you launch this, it's going to tell you that you need to make sure that it's going to tell you that you need to make sure that you have booted in safe mode. Now, we're going to just do that right now so that you guys can see. I'm going to go through this process with you. Hopefully nothing goes terribly wrong so that we don't get a good record. Alright, so I'm going to reboot now. And how you achieve this really is when you hit start and you hit this to get to the restart option, you're going to hold shift on your keyboard. So right now I'm holding shift, and while I'm holding it, you just hit restart. Okay, so we're gonna hold shift and hit restart. I'm holding shift, release shift now, and it actually said please wait. So this is the screen that it's gonna give you. This is probably terrible, but just so that you can see, these are the options that you get. You're gonna wanna hit troubleshoot, and from here you're gonna hit startup settings, and you see safe mode right here. So when you hit restart, you're gonna get all of these. Okay, so just hit restart. Once it partially reboots, it's gonna bring you to this screen, and as you can see, safe mode or enable safe mode is at option number 4. So what you do is simply hit the number 4 key on your keyboard. That's 4 right there, and the system will just reboot. Okay, so after the system rebooted, I was not actually able to get OBS to work. It did require some NVENC driver, although I did try to use the X264 option within OBS to record, but it was horrible. It was just so slow, it was dropping frames, it was crazy. So the drivers are actually not functioning or not working when you're in safe mode, and as I said, you'll definitely know that you're in safe mode because you're gonna have safe mode on the 4 corners of the screen. Now once you're here, you're gonna just navigate to the folder where you downloaded DDU, or where you extracted it actually, and you're going to run the exe file, the application there. This is just some written information that I have here that I'm gonna have it linked on my website. The link is gonna be below in the description. So when you launch the program, this is what you'll get. I think, so for the notes right here, I think you'll get a little box, a list of Nvidia stuff and a list of AMD stuff, and I think an option for Intel. So you can just take the option. I used Nvidia, and if you're using AMD, you're kind of at your own risk with this because I haven't tested it with AMD as yet. But with Nvidia, what I did is just hit the box that includes the physics to make sure that you uninstall the physics drivers as well, and then you hit close. You will then be greeted with this window And over on the right side here, you're gonna, where you see select device type, you're going to hit GPU from the drop down, and it's going to ask you what type of GPU that you have. So whether it's AMD or Nvidia Users, you select that. I pretty much doubt you're going to be in, anyone's going to be in uninstalling Intel drivers with this thing. You don't usually have that much issues with Intel drivers. So after you select your GPU from here, you can just hit clean and restart. You can just hit that and it's going to do its thing. It's going to look like this. So things are gonna be you won't be able to click on anything, so you know that it's working. It's gonna tell you what it's doing, so it's telling you everything that is cleaning up and what has been removed, and then the system is going to reboot. The system is going to reboot and you're gonna go back into Windows and you will literally have nothing. Well, if you're using AMD, you should have no AMD drivers, and if you're using Nvidia, you should have no Nvidia drivers. Let's just do a check on this. I'm gonna go ahead and hit Windows X on the keyboard to bring up this menu here, and then go here for Device Manager. Let's just go ahead and check and see if we have any Nvidia drivers there, or if we have any graphics drivers there. And let me just go ahead and check here. So okay, so right now we just have our Intel graphics family here, and this is what we want to have. We don't want to have anything that has to do with Nvidia. So no menu, and nothing in the right click menu, nothing down here, only Intel. So that's what we need. Alright, so you're gonna go ahead and launch the Nvidia driver that you downloaded. Just go ahead and double click on it. It's going to open up. It may take a little while, but if you see your mouse, if you see the little white thingy on your mouse, then you know that it's loading. Then you go ahead and click run. Let me just close out of this for now so that the system knows what it's doing. You can go ahead and click on OK. It's going to extract into your hard drive, somewhere in your hard drive. I think it's somewhere in the root directory. I think it's going to go into the root directory. Let me quickly go ahead and check here. Usually it's a SP for me, but if it's not, which I don't see, then it's gonna be in Nvidia. Display driver, this is definitely where it's going right now. So it's extracting everything here. Windows 10 and Windows 11 is the same thing. So I do believe that it's the exact same method for Windows 10 and Windows 11. I think they just put that on the website so that those who think that it's different for Windows 11 will choose Windows 11, but I think that it's the exact same driver and everything is going to be implemented the exact same way. So we're gonna go ahead and leave it to extract here. I'm gonna allow this driver to install while I'm recording. I don't know if it's gonna mess up the recording, but if it does, then you'll understand that. So I think it should automatically come up with a setup window. So this is the thing. Once you're not using the official driver for your system, if the driver is not working correctly, your system will just not work correctly. As in, maybe you might not notice, but you can get more performance, or you can get a better performance from the system once it's using the correct graphics driver. So yeah, you definitely need to make sure that you have your drivers installed. I'm gonna go ahead and select Nvidia graphics driver here. The GeForce Experience, I'm gonna go ahead and select this because in the past, when you try to install just the Nvidia driver alone, it's gonna give you the Nvidia driver. You're gonna get it, but you won't get the control panel from the right click, and that's kind of important to tweak a few things. So I'm gonna go ahead and select this one, the top one, the main one, and everything else is basically going to be normal. I think here, let's see what's custom advanced. Okay, so it says perform clean install, so we can come here and select this. Yes, make sure that you let it install the physics software. Do its thing now. If it stops the recording though, it's fine, because after this, the only thing that you will need to do is reboot the computer and you're good. Alright, now that it's done, what you're supposed to do is actually restart the system, but it's saying that it wants to launch the Nvidia GeForce experience here. So I'm not gonna tick that. I'm gonna have it create the desktop application. So once we close, it's gonna create the icon there, and when we right click, we're gonna get the control panel here, and this is how the Nvidia driver works. Now, a reboot is what you're really going to need to have this soak in. This is what you're going to use to make further configurations to your Nvidia driver for even better performance. Now I'm going to go through another process here, but this is just going to be for Nvidia users, and that's just because I'm using Nvidia. I don't know if there's a specific one for AMD. You may have to do some further research to check that, but the AMD driver that you downloaded, once you install that and reboot your system, you should be perfectly fine. Now what I'm gonna go ahead and talk about here is this program that's called NV Clean Install. I'm gonna need you to download this program if you're using Nvidia. Tech power up here, I'll just go ahead and click on one of these mirrors, let it go ahead and download. I'm gonna click on that so it can launch as soon as it's done. Run. Let's just close out of this because we don't want that anymore. Alright, so this is the program that I want you guys to have. This is basically going to install your Nvidia drivers very nicely. This is the reason why you downloaded the driver. For all you Nvidia users, you're gonna go ahead and select use driver files on disk and go ahead and hit browse. And we're going to go ahead and find the driver that we downloaded here, and then just hit next. Now what happens here is that we can actually select all the other components that we want the driver to have if we want to have other stuff, and for some persons these might just be bloat, but if there's anything here that suits your need, like for example shadow play or driver updates, if you know that this is the driver that you want on your system, you would not tick this. But for example, shadow play, GeForce experience, I'm gonna want this, and that's basically all that I'm gonna want. With the physics driver, so there's just a ton of other components that you can have installed along with your driver, but I want a less bloated experience as possible. So as I said, I just want the physics driver, the original display driver, and the GeForce experience control panel. Then I'm gonna go ahead and hit next, no, and it's unpacking and it's going ahead and installing there now. So, and most of you who watch my channel, you may probably know that I'm using Nvidia. So if you're an AMD users and you're just tagging along, I really appreciate you just the same. Another thing that you're going to actually need to do is, and while this is going on here, let me just put it over here so that you can have a look at this beautiful background. Want a clean install? Perform a clean install, yes. Add hardware support, I would select this as well, and this is where you're gonna paste this option. So it shows you here, this is the hardware ID, it's a dev ID here, and this is where you would find it that I showed you. So let's see, it has templates. Let's see, okay, so it has some templates. Go into your device manager, find this. Hopefully, let's see if I type it in, if it's gonna actually perform any difference. Saying that this is the one that is installed, which is this one. So because it's installed, it's telling me that. If you don't have the driver installed, it won't tell you. Being that you're going to be doing this before you have the driver installed, and we're going to go ahead and click next. Basically all that I want to mention. Your drivers should be working perfectly now. I do have another video that I'm gonna give you guys that's gonna show you how you can tweak the Nvidia settings to get the best performance out of it. Check the description, or I'll have a card up on the top to show you a card up on the top that you can click on to get to it. But thank you guys very much for watching. I hope you learned something, or I hope this video helped you in some way. But until then, drop a like on the video, and don't forget to subscribe if you want more videos like this, and I will see you guys in the next one.